Welcome to the Dad Code Podcast. This is DDS, where real fans come for real sports talk and no BS. We are your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and back in studio with us, Matthew Parker. Parker, what's up, dude?
Good to be back, fellas. Good to be back.
I'm glad you made it after you locked yourself out of your own home.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I have two sets of keys are outside, and I somehow locked them both in the house. So, yeah.
Welcome to this edition of the College Football Picks. No UT Vols game this week, so we're going with 4. These picks will be precious this week. Georgia, Florida in Jacksonville is the first game. This is the 100th all-time meeting in the series. We've got a matchup here of the number 4 rated running attack in the Florida Gators, which of course includes both of their quarterbacks, versus the Georgia defense that nation's best, only allowing 6.6 points per game. Not even a touchdown per game, Parker.
Yeah, and when they're not at home, they're even better than that. When they're on the road, they're allowing 4.3 points per game.
This is technically a road game. They're both playing in Jacksonville.
It's an unbelievable stat because you said 6.6. The next closest, Michigan, at 14.3.
Good grief.
Oh, boy.
It's not just about the points allowed. I mean, you talked about Florida being the number 4 ranked run attack in the country. Me personally, I think that has become a fraudulent stat now. After the way Florida's season has gone, it just seems like they, at least in the last game or two, it just seems like they've abandoned that. Seems like they've gone to trying to throw the ball a little more, and it's not really worked out too well.
We talked about it. That's what happens. That's what happens when you try to be something that you're not. They got away from being just keep it simple, running the ball and playing solid defense to let's try to throw the ball around, trying to mix Richardson back in there a lot. Yeah. And it bit them in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're looking at Georgia being the dominant force that they are on defense. I mean, only allowing 62 rush yards per game.
And Florida, they are a rushing team, but as you alluded to, in the last 3 games, they haven't topped 180 rushing yards in any of those games, and one of them is against Vandy.
Right.
And the quarterbacks have come up big. Richardson, I think, is going to get the start here, and nearly half of Florida's rushing yards comes from the quarterback position. As far as the percentage-wise that goes, that's number 2 in the country, next to Army, I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's just I've always kind of questioned, was this really their identity? Because I wonder how many of those quarterback runs were designed quarterback runs, or how many of them were scamper around yards. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're very talented out in the open field. I mean, you get them with a head of steam, they're gonna get some yards. So
honestly, Blake, what I saw from the quarterback early was it felt like a one read and then run.
Yeah,
one read and get out. But then around game 3 or 4, I noticed that he actually looked at read 2 and 3. And I think I called it out here. It was like, man, Emory Jones is starting to.
Well, that was against Tennessee. I felt like he had a pretty good passing game.
He had a great game.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. And then it's kind of damning, in my opinion, for someone like Dan Mullen, who's, touted to be the quarterback whisperer. When you've got your quarterback, like you're saying, one look and I'm out of here.
Yeah. But I want to set up Parker for something here. What I have noticed and what is really even more concerning to me is defense. Where did it go? I'm watching LSU run the same play over and over and over again. Can they stop the run?
They're in the right spaces. I mean, they just can't tackle.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable watching that LSU game because they have them and they're just breaking. I don't have the stat in front of me, but it was tackle after tackle after tackle after tackle. The hope is they're coming off a bye week.
Yeah.
The hope is that you went back to get some just fundamentals correct because it seems like that they're running the right defenses. They're not 20-yard blown open plays. They just – can they tackle? So I know that's like a really simplistic answer, but can they tackle people?
I mean, that's what you get in college, though. You have coaches that put them in the right positions with schemes and with, the correct calls on defense, but it's up to them to be able to tackle. And in college, sometimes you get a lot of guys trying to arm tackle and do this little shit where they dive at them. Yeah. And it just doesn't work.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Georgia's going to bring waves of different running backs into this game.
Yeah, and they are going to run it all over Florida because obviously Florida hasn't been good against the run game. If you look at the stats, Georgia actually doesn't appear on paper to be that great of a rushing team, but you got to look at the things that everybody knew they were going to run, right? Like they have a backup quarterback in the game, or they're up by 40. So if you look at the metrics of it, I think they're outside like the top 50, but I think those are fraudulent.
Yeah.
And they're really a top 10 rushing team. It's just everybody knew they were going to run. And that is the question. Can Florida slow that down? The answer is probably no.
I'm not picking it.
You know what? The Florida
Gator fan is not picking it.
Florida is better than their record. If you go back through every game that they've played and you looked at the win probability, like ESPN puts out, like there's a 55% chance they're going to win this game. If you do that, Florida was above 50% in every single game this year, including all the ones that they've lost. So, I mean, they've been in it. And their offense is something that can confuse Georgia's defense theoretically. It's a fast defense that comes after you, so they use RPO, they use misdirection. Mullen's supposed to be some quarterback whisperer, right? Mm-hmm. You had an extra week to prep. I think this game could be really close in the first half.
I would agree. Maybe. I don't think that Florida is going to be winning at halftime. I think that just over the course of the game, though, I think that Florida is going to be put in a situation where they're going to be forced maybe to try to pass the ball.
Uh-oh.
And that equals curtains, in my opinion, against this Georgia defense, which, if I recall correctly, I think I saw a quote from one of their defensive backs that, I don't care if you're the New England Patriots, you're not getting in our end zone.
Yeah, that's strong.
So, at this point, I believe him.
Yeah, I have a lot of data that suggests that he's correct.
And some data to suggest that they can't throw it against him if Anthony Richardson starts at quarterback. He's thrown the ball 37 times this year. Yeah, he's had some big throws. You see the highlights, but of those 37, 18 of them were inaccurate.
Nice.
Yikes.
Well, who wants to start?
I'll start it off down here. It's definitely going to be Georgia. I think this is going to be Georgia by 3 scores.
Big time.
I mean, it could be. I mean, if Florida's offense cannot move it against them, I don't know who's playing quarterback for Georgia's my kind of a big issue there. But I think Georgia wins. But I do think it's closer. I think they cover this. I think it's 31-21. I think they win by 10.
So since 1990, Florida leads this series, Blake, 22-9. 22 wins, 9 losses, including last year's upset of then number 5 Georgia.
That's an interesting stat.
It's true.
So I didn't realize it was that one-sided.
So they
can I counter that? In the last 4 though, it's 3 of 4 for Georgia.
Okay. Let me get back to mine. 22-9 since 1990, including the upset last year of then number 5 Georgia. Georgia comes into this game. Their margin of victories, there's only been one that's been less than 17-point victory. That was week 0 against Clemson. So I used that key number of 17, and I'm going Georgia 34-17. A 17-point victory.
I like it.
Sounds like me and Newberry are on the same page.
Really, really random thing I read earlier. Only one time of Florida and Georgia played when Georgia was ranked number 1 in the country. It was back like in the 40s. Final score of that game, Georgia 75, Florida 0.
Oh, now question: is it going to be closer to that or one of our scores? Everybody else might as well lay down if Georgia hangs at 75-0.
Yeah, just done.
Yeah, everybody just needs to mail it in.
So we go from SEC matchup. We're going to pivot to Big Ten. Blake and I had some words about Big Ten and the history they made in that 9 overtime game last week.
Yes.
This is a game with number 6 Michigan versus number 8 Michigan State. Both teams come in at 7-0. Of course, pivotal for both Big Ten play and college playoff implications.
Yeah, it's massive. And this game last year, I mean, it's a 4-point game this year. Michigan's favored by 4. Well, last year, Michigan was favored by 24 and they lost.
That's right.
And this is a tough one to pick because Nebraska is – both these teams haven't played anybody. Both these teams, the best team they have played is Nebraska. And Nebraska's 60th in offense. They just haven't played anyone, so it's really tough to tell how good they both are. I mean, I really struggled with this one.
Yeah, it's kind of a struggle. I mean, you look at the stats for both teams, and I don't know that either team really stands out in anything, quite frankly. Kind of fairly evenly matched. I think Michigan's probably got a better run game, and Michigan might have a little better pass defense according to the numbers, but this is a rivalry game, obviously, and anything can happen in rivalry games.
Anything could happen in the rivalry. This is the first time since 1964 that both of these teams play each other in the top 10 in the rankings. I found that to be interesting. Michigan.
You would have thought it would have been more recent than that with their history.
I think it's coming from, I guess, the Michigan State side.
I guess.
Because we see Michigan highly ranked, overrated all the time. Michigan State head coach Mel Tucker is looking to keep his team focused in that one game, 1 week type of business. Blake, they still have the second leading rusher in the nation with Kenneth Walker III, 997 yards.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be one of those probably Newberry special games where it's just
grind it out,
dirty. Like nobody likes to see the whole. Oh God,
it's not going to be a fun game.
It's another punt. It's another grind it out.
Field position, defense, run the ball.
Yeah, 6 minutes of possession that ends in a punt instead of field goals and touchdowns. I think it's just going to be back and forth, and it could be who has the ball last.
Y'all, we're talking about Georgia having the number one scoring defense in college. Well, Michigan's got number 2.
Okay.
And number 19, and then you drop down to Michigan State's number 21. By the way, this is totally off subject and really more about Georgia, but the difference between Georgia and Michigan, to be able to get the greatest jump next, that same jump from 1 to 2, from 2 to that next one, you'd have to go all the way down to 28. It's just a massive, massive difference. But back to this Michigan game, it's going to be decided on the ground. Whoever can run the ball is going to be who's going to win this game. For Michigan State to win this game, there's a key to it. Michigan State has got to get up because Michigan cannot pass the ball. McNamara is awful. He's super conservative. And if they're having to pass the ball to get back into this game, it's over. If Michigan gets up, I think it's over there too. So it just depends. If Michigan gets up, they're going to run it. They're going to win this game. Michigan State can get up by 2 scores early, 10 points, something. They're having to pass it. Then Michigan State will win this game.
All right, well, I'm going to start us off here. Daddy officially has a feeling about this game.
All
right. Obviously, Michigan's always been the big brother between the two of them, it seems like. And for whatever reason, they seem to get the most press between the two of them. But not today. Not today. It's going to be Michigan State. They're going to grind it out on the ground. They're going to play defense. I agree with Parker. I think this quarterback's just not going to be able to get it done, particularly if they're put in a situation where they got to score some points. So I'm going Michigan State. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I think this could be it'll be a 1-score game.
Is this the proverbial field goal game?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah, I really did go back and forth on this one, and I think it could be whoever gets the coin flip and scores because it changes
literally.
It changes how the other team has to play.
That chase mode.
Yes.
Type of thing. Yeah.
Who scores first?
And I just think that Michigan's too big on the ground for this. I'm not confident in this at all. I'm confident in the that Michigan State will cover the spread, but I'm not confident that they'll win. I'll take Michigan in that field goal game, 24-21.
I'm saying close. Nasty, hard-nosed game. I read that Michigan State is not that great on third downs. I've read that they're not good at all with penalty situations. So I feel like it could be very close, and then Michigan State's going to have a turnover and just give Michigan a short field. I'm going Michigan 21-13.
Yeah, I think it's going to be if you like defense and running the ball, it's going to be the best game of the week.
This is going to be Newberry's favorite game to watch because he's going to get tired of watching that beat down there in Jacksonville.
Change the channel. The 2:30 special. underdog time, where we've got to identify a team that's not supposed to win, and we're saying they're going to win straight up this week. Blake, have you identified such a team?
I actually have. There was a lot to choose from this week.
He's got multiple teams.
So much to the point to where it was actually very difficult for me to just decide on one.
Okay.
So I picked one that I felt like I had the least confidence in a team being able to go on the road and get something done. Particularly when this team is not used to being in the position they're in and kind of being poised to maybe take a step forward or slip back into their old ways. So Kentucky, I'm talking about you. I do not believe that they're going to be able to go down to Starkville and get a win and take that next step. I think that it looks like most everybody's kind of agreeing with me. I don't know why everything's kind of skewed toward that. It says Kentucky's a 1.5 favorite. Just not very impressive on the Kentucky side as far as offense. I mean, yeah, they rush the ball, but that's kind of Mississippi State's strength on defense is their rush defense, only allowing 93 yards a game. So that combined with Mississippi State being a kind of a high octane offense, so to speak. I mean, we know they're going to throw the ball. We know they're going to move the ball and they're going to score some points. So for me, I just don't think Kentucky will be able to keep up. I also think that this is going to be an ugly game. Both of these quarterbacks throw interceptions. They throw quite a bit of interceptions. Kentucky's got a good running back in Rodriguez, but I think it's going to take way more than that to be able to get the job done against Mississippi State, and I don't think they can do it. So I'm going with Mississippi State on this one.
I hope you're right because I hate Kentucky football so much.
And exactly, I think this is where Kentucky starts their skid, starting this week, and then we'll get to our prediction against Tennessee later.
Uh-oh. I was about to lay it out right now.
Uh-oh. I'll go next. I'll save the bomb. Come on. I am going to go to the state of Texas. I'm looking at Baylor in Texas. I'm going to take a shot with my underdog as the Texas Longhorns. They rank second in the Big 12 at 41.6 points per game, 456.7 yards of offense per game. I know it's this year. So this year's different from history, but history is lopsided in this matchup with Texas and Baylor. They owned double-digit leads over both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State in their last two games. Baylor seems like to be a big surprise in Big 12 play. I'm going to roll the dice with Texas as my straight-up underdog.
That was one of them I looked at.
Almost picked
Very
it.
close.
I had it. I wrote it down, started writing stuff up about it, and I changed it at the last minute. I love that pick because I think the voodoo is coming back.
Oh, no.
And I believe in this Iowa team.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't believe in Iowa.
They are the best team in the country. No, Iowa against Wisconsin. I don't understand why Wisconsin gets love every single week.
I get tired. I looked at this one too. I am so sick and tired.
These have got to be on this panel, two of the most hated teams. And then you add Penn State to the mix. I mean, these are just
Iowa and Wisconsin are the same team. I mean, if you look up defensively, they're the same. They're basically have the same metrics, the same type of stuff. Iowa is going to turn over Wisconsin because Graham Mertz, I don't know if you've watched much Wisconsin. This guy sucks. He is not good at all. Iowa's going to scheme the crap out of this guy, and he's going to eat him alive. This is one of those games Iowa's going to – I'll call it right now. Iowa will have 4 more turnovers. We'll get 4 more turnovers than Wisconsin, and Iowa will win this game 13-10.
Okay. That's right up their alley.
That's what they do.
13-6.
They're going to get they'll get like 4 turnovers on the Wisconsin side of the field and get 4 field goals out of it or something. But I think Iowa wins this game. I think Wisconsin's overrated. I've seen them favored so many times this year, and every single time they don't cover, they don't even win. It's bewildering to me why Wisconsin is favored here because Iowa is still alive in the national in the playoff chase.
You can't say that on these airwaves.
They are.
Jeez. Best bets where we can pick either one. Favorite, underdog, just something that we would Put a couple
Before
of
we move
dollars
on here, I want to point out that Clemson almost came for you again
Uh-oh.
with the Florida State
Let them
underdog
just
pick.
let them rest in peace.
We'll just see how that turns out, though.
Man, how
Jeez.
times have changed. Think of that game 5 years ago. I mean, it would have been the biggest game, the night game
Yeah.
on CBS or whatever on ESPN. Now it's who cares?
Yeah.
Best bet. I'll go ahead and start. I'm going to take an underdog here as well. I'm going to take Louisville in 7 points. I'm going to trust that they can not only cover this spread, but I think they have a good chance to win in their game. I'm going to keep riding the quarterback, Malik Cunningham, 1,684 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's kind of got that feel of a Lamar Jackson a little bit. I don't know if it's because I'm seeing him in a Louisville jersey and he's got the run pass threat type of thing. But I'll take 7 points in Louisville. I think they could just straight up win.
I think, yeah, that's good. I'd traditionally take a underdog, but I'm actually going to go with a favorite here, a big favorite. And that's with Arizona State. They're giving up 16 points right now. It's against Washington State. Really, it's just a play against Washington State. ASU is coming off a bye. They now, with Utah's loss, have a chance to still win their division, so they're alive and well. Washington State has one of the worst defenses in the country. They're ranked like 110th. And on top of that, Washington State just got their head coach fired, quarterback coach fired, O-line coach fired, defensive coordinator fired. They've lost like 7 coaches.
Who's coaching? The teachers?
They brought in a interim guy, I forgot who, but they've got rid of everybody. And they responded for him last week and only lost by 2 points. But usually that response only works for a week. I think this week is eye-opening, and Arizona State just absolutely rolls.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am coming back down to South Florida here to our friends at Miami.
Oh, your friends.
Yep. And like Parker, I am not picking an underdog here to cover. I am going with a favorite. They're playing Pitt. And as we have come to learn over the course of the year, being Tennessee fans, we got it early, and we had a front row seat, shall we say. Pittsburgh's for real. They are absolutely for real. They're a 9-point favorite at the moment, I do believe, unless it's changed. Yeah, 9-point favorite. I think that they're going to blow this out of the water. I think they're at a point now where they can start doing things to try to get attention. And one of the things that they can do is they can blow a shit-ass Miami team out of the water. And, I mean, Miami just god-awful. You know, points allowed per game, 30. You know, I mean, and you got a Pitt offense that's averaging over 500 yards of offense per game. I just think this has got cover all over it. I think they're going to easily cover this 9-point margin here.
I think you're right. I would have thought about that pick if I would have saw the line. Kenny Pickett's playing insane for Pitt. I actually like all our
one
picks.
interception on the year.
And it's not like they're Iowa and they're not throwing it.
No.
244 attempts. He's throwing the ball a lot.
I wonder what his Heisman sorry.
That was going to be my question: is he getting no Heisman love?
None. I guarantee.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to win the Heisman. I'm just sitting there looking at him. Dude, he's a good quarterback.
Pitt has made believers out of the ball fans down here. They took their souls and
ask
now they believe.
Ask Clemson. Ask Virginia Tech.
Exactly.
Ask Georgia Tech. I mean, they beat who? They beat New Hampshire by 70.
He is 4th.
Hey, that's not bad.
In Heisman odds right now.
I didn't
know he did. I mean, it's not a sexy pick, but dude, he's good.
Here's who's going to win it though: CJ Stroud. But anyways,
don't know anything about him. Who does he play for? Who's that?
I remember Marcus Stroud.
First, I thought you said JT Stroud.
Jags. Georgia Jaguars. Whatever. We're way off topic.
Wouldn't have surprised me. If it was a Tennessee transfer, it wouldn't have surprised me.
I feel a lot better about these picks this week.
I do too, which means they're going to all lose.
Whatever. Speak for y'all self.
Yeah, we're good. I got nothing else. That's it. That's a college pick show.
Yes, it is.
Listen up, boys and girls. Make some money with us this week with these college picks.
Yeah. We got the track record to prove it over there. Well, some of us do.
We do.
Currently, I'm leading this little exercise with a record of 27-12. You both are stuck at 22-17, which is really good.
Yeah. How much on the underdogs, though? I'm really curious on specifically on the underdogs.
Underdogs.
We're all
We're about the same.
All tied up.
Blake and I, we're both at 4-4. Parker's at 3-5. But
I
that's a
blame
lot of
Vandy.
wins with underdog picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put money on those, you're way up on that. You're,
Way ahead.
you're in the green. All I know this week, I'm happy. We have actually good games this weekend.
Yeah. It was a struggle last week for sure. But anyways, hey guys, thanks for joining us on this, our college pick show, actually college pick show. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. Get the conversation started there. Tell us what you think about our picks. Does Florida really have a chance? Does anybody have a chance against Georgia? Makes me wonder. And Pickett. Is he a real Heisman contender? Not a sexy pick, but the numbers don't lie. Anyways, guys, parting thoughts.
Go Hawkeyes.
I'm going to have a cocktail or two during the cocktail party.
Go Big Orange. You guys be well.